Hosbrutality. My name is Stefan Zarnecki of Black Tie Tours. With me, as always, Wesley Jones of Tour Cascadia. Cole Rogers, Ian Moss behind the camera, back behind the board. Thank you, gentlemen. And today, we are joined for the first time by a native Frenchman, a adopted Blazer fan.
Guess so, yeah.
Yeah. Not just you don't cheer just for the Frenchies, you cheer for the Blazers too.
I do.
And of course, the winemaker here at Lingua Franca, Thomas Savre.
Thanks for the pronunciation. It's great.
Alors, I do my
Better
best.
than Savre.
Savre. Thomas.
Yeah.
Savre. I love it. You're severe. Are you a severe runner?
I like to run, yeah. I ran a lot when I was little.
That's where the severe thing comes from. It's just
yeah.
where people get caught up.
Yeah, I used to run quite a bit, like marathon and stuff, and then I got fat, and and I had a little accident in one volleyball practice in McMinnville with some good friends that kind of put me a little bit on the, like retirement mode and running,
Okay.
but a few years ago we ran with my good friend Lee, who works for Radiant, we did a half marathon in Newport, and I passed the line, and the guy pronounced my name Savre, and I just like the new kind of thing.
And you put
So
your hands
Savre.
up and you
So
did
like,
one of these.
Exactly.
I like it. Old
it's
school.
It's your luchador alter ego.
Yeah, bro.
Thomas, thank you for having us. You've been up since, what did you say, 5-4 this morning, early?
Yeah, we start usually early. Like I was up because of my little daughter.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just worth
So
it.
you're a little bleary-eyed now, but you hung out for us today.
That's
Thank
great.
you. First off, what are we drinking
Yeah.
in the glass here?
All right. So Chardonnay. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So it's the Estate Chardonnay, 18 vintage. So the story of Lingua Franca, we have a beautiful estate here just behind this room, 66 acres planted. 10 acres is Chardonnay, and then the rest is Pinot. And this is coming from 2 clone, 76 Dijon clone, and 548. So we started to do the estate in 2017. The vineyard is fairly young. It was planted in 2013, and A17 was really the first year where we found that this is really the time we can bottle this as its own, and such a great site, great vineyard. It's on pure volcanic soil on a certain flat area. We know we have a big influence of the Van Duzer corridor in our site, and we make a lot of Chardonnay, but this is really good, and 30 to 40% new oak. And it's made exactly in the same way from all our wine, so
No, delicious.
18, good vintage for Chardonnay for sure.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. So you came to the United States, and your first winemaking experience in Oregon was with Isabelle Meunier, Dominique Lafon at Evening Land.
Indian Birch after this. And so there was Evening Land started. The Evening Land story is amazing. So it started actually with Larry Stone and Dominique Lafon in 2007.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And who Larry Stone is now, the founder and CEO of Lingua Franca. So the story of Evening Land was having someone from Burgundy making wine in different places in the world, Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, Burgundy, Santa Barbara, California, Oregon. So Isabelle took the job in 2008, I believe, and then the big splash was them to lease this incredible vineyard, Seven Spring, which is an iconic vineyard in Oregon.
Wonderful.
Lynn Pinarache, Christum, Bethel Heights, Adelsheim, Ponzi have been working with this vineyard for so long. And so Larry was able to start the project with everybody in 2008, 2007, and then he left in 2012. But he was in contact with his people here.
Sure.
Whose people that own this farm was the Jensen family, the grandparents of Chelsea.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. All right.
And Larry was, there is a lot of connection via the history with the Larry's from Seattle, and etc. etc. And then they knew via like the sales of product in the Pike Place Market, and I think they were very excited for Larry to take on this farm to develop his dream, and a vineyard. Well, that's for the Lingua Franca part. For the Evening Land part, my first experience was across the street. I came as an intern. So what I did is I was intern at Romane Conti for a year and a half, and then I decided to. I was really motivated to come to Oregon to settle here and to work. So I break the piggy bank and then say I'm not gonna send resume via email. I'm gonna come. So I set up meetings with. I met Grand Culture at Beaufrère.
Yeah.
I met Laurent Montalieu, Bruno, and everybody there at Northwest, and Steve Dorner, who I ended up having dinner in Salem and drinking Ricard. It was just phenomenal. Okay. And then I met with Isabelle, and then I was really attracted by this iconic vineyard, the Chardonnay, the quality of the Pinot, and this kind of idea of making wine with Oregon wine with kind of like a Burgundian mindset in a sense, but it's very like, it's not Burgundy wine. It's just like, okay, we use experience and techniques that we've learned there and approach it in Oregon, and I found that fascinating to me. It was fascinating to me, so I studied there. Ian Birch at the time was in France, working for Evening Land France. Yeah. Then there was some change, and Raj and Sashi Moorman took it over. Isabelle left to start La Vinea, and then Ian took the job. So I was working under Ian until he left for first Scott Paul and then Archer Summit. Yeah. And then for myself, at the same time, I connected with Larry at an IPNC night 2014, I believe. He just came back from France, tasted at DRC. He said, "Oh, you work there?" I was like, "Well, I was just an intern." Super fun, and we connected. And then just say, well, maybe when we can meet one day, I think it's cool, like what you're doing across the street, because I was often in the vineyard. And then, we just connected, had a dinner, and then went pretty quick. And then I was just like, I'm very interested for my next move in my career. I would love to work there. And Dominique was meant to be involved in this Lingua Franca, and so he left Evening Land to fully focus here, and then we started this crazy journey that seems like never end, which is amazing.
Right. I mean, and do you ever take a step back and go?
I should sometimes. It was fast. I mean, I think it's very interesting, because I think that I'm always like very I don't know how to explain that. I'm always curious what people think. So I don't know. We've been working hard to get where we are right now.
Sure. Yeah. No, you've been working your tail off in the industry. But when your name comes up in conversation, I hear he's young. Like
with gray hair now.
Yeah, with gray hair. I know. It's like
I've got it in my beard. This is what being a dad will do to you.
That is true.
Or just this last 6 years. I started this project at 28 years old, and it was literally like, it was chaotic at first. It was kind of a startup mode, and the idea of like bringing this interesting culture with production and make an impact, and where we are right now. And Larry is like with this amazing network of connection in the world. I mean, we're in like some of the best restaurants on the planet. We built this cool team, and then now we're like kind of being we can mature a little bit, and then it's kind of interesting to see what's the next step is, and super excited about it. And we make 10,000 cases of wine. This is less what we can make here, so we have other folks that rent space, and it's super fun for us because we can see what other people do, make, participate to it, learning other vineyards. And the team, I strongly believe that the team I work with are great people, like Kim, who's been here for 4 years now. She's amazing. She's came from Domaine Serene. And then Joe, who's been here for 3 years now. Great people. And then we have Chase too. That's like everybody's like 4, 3, 2 years, and they stay here. And I have so much fun. It's great.
Yeah. Well, the wines speak for themselves.
And Brendan, our vineyard manager, he came from Britain. He started last year. Last year was a tough year for him. Is always COVID and then fire after this, but It's fantastic. This year the vineyard looks
Breath of fresh air.
Perfect.
it's just beautiful. It just did. I mean, him and the team did an incredible job. I'm very proud. I'm so happy. It's just like I'm like, yeah, this is a reflection. I'm looking back. I'm like, it's so good to be surrounded by so many people. We've always usually forget that wine is made by so many. The winemaker get the prize.
A lot of hands.
And then everybody else is,
Right.
But I'm no worry about their futures. They're just, they have so long road in front of them.
Do you ever have any doubters along the way that said, "Who's this kid coming in here?" People that doubted you and said,
yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah,
this
you
guy,
don't
he
want
he hasn't earned this."
you don't wanna know. I think both ways. There is also I'm not gonna name those ones,
No.
but I'm gonna tell you that there is a lot of great people that really really helped me a lot. A lot about and it's like when you doubt, and then they were here whenever you like. Just it's tough, but you're gonna get. It's fine. It's normal.
Right.
George Bergstrom, Ken Paolo, all these people have been leading the way for us generation.
Yeah.
They're a generation just above me, I guess. And then they've been very good for us. I think for this new generation, I'm very grateful for
Well,
that.
especially with Chardonnay being hot.
Yeah, Chardonnay. It's like we do. I love tasting together. We talk a lot. We taste a lot. We challenge ourselves, but in a good way.
Love to be a fly on the wall. Some of those Chardonnay conversations.
Yeah,
just-
if you ever need blending trial partners, I know some guys
Yeah,
that would come.
yeah, anytime. So yeah, it's blending. Chardonnay, it's a good. Chardonnay, it's hard to make. It's probably the hardest. It's hard. I had to say that, but it's harder than Pinot. Like I think so. Very I'm always very amazed by it's a level of detail that needs to be put in it, and it's pretty crazy.
Yep.
And you always learn, and you learn more, and you're wow, it's like I made a mistake here, and
Gotta
need to
stay on it.
come back. And then it's at the end of the day, think about it, it's like you press the juice and this is it. And then you act. Every time you're gonna act, you can add or reduce something. Every time you add, you can add or go to another direction. It's kind of dicey a little bit, and so you have to be take some risk, but also and then the final product in the bottle is also always thinking that the wine is really done whenever the day after it's bottled, not when it's in barrel.
Right.
Yeah.
This is for Chardonnay is a big thing. I think it's like finishing the wine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I wanted to interject really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Ian Birch is one of the guys that doesn't get enough credit
Yeah.
for his craft. My wife worked at Walt. Why am I blanking on the name right now?
Scott Paul.
Scott Paul.
He worked at Scott
Paul. She was at
and-
Scott Paul
yeah.
while he was there, and they weren't investing in the Chardonnay program, and it was heartbreaking. Having his evening land wines, and then celebrating him going to Archery Summit, and actually having a crew that was going to invest in him being able to make Chardonnay again. So,
Yeah.
Ian Birch, love you, buddy.
He's a great winemaker, and I think that it's very good for him to have been. I don't remember really the Scott Paul thing with Chardonnay, but I know that now at Archery Summit he can express himself with different grapes. We share some vineyards together. It's been fun. So yeah, I'm gonna have brunch with him soon. So I'm happy.
Brunch.
I guess brunch. That's what
So
you say.
yeah,
it's a lunch with
Right.
beer and then
Yeah.
Somewhere in
and
the
you
middle
drink some
between
Go get it.
breakfast and
waffle sausage. And
Go get it. There's some good brunch options in Portland.
yeah.
A few more down here. Getting there. Okay, so the Lingua Franca project to me has always been a little bit of a moving target for me as a tour operator. Kind of popped onto the scene, big names, delicious wines, and I remember first coming out to the facility and going, "Wow, God, look at this place. This is beautiful. You've got it all set up, clearly to make a ton of wine." And there was no tasting space. There was no tasting room. Can you take me into that decision process? Were you a part of that? I'm curious what the inside track is on that, because it's a very, it was confusing, and I'm curious to know how that went down.
Sure. Yeah. No. I mean, I can tell you that the inception of this project was based on production. It really focused on first vineyard, then winery. So we invested a lot in this. then we clearly realized that we needed a tasting room.
Right. DTC is kind of sweet, right?
DTC is working well for us, but it's like it needs to be, so we really tried our best with some of the best that we could find in the valley to push us to try to do it without a tasting room.
Yeah.
You are in our tasting room right now.
Right. Yeah. This
And
is a little
it was
indoor
not
space.
supposed to be a tasting room. People love it. I think it's been working good. Now we know that it's obviously a weakness, and then we actually, before you leave, take a ride, and then you take a look at what's going on the farm, and there's plan to build something eventually that was in the book before COVID. Things have changed.
Of course.
And so we're in the process of hopefully in the next year or two to have something
I see.
up, maybe to be determined. I mean, it's there; you can see it physically.
Yeah.
So
Okay, all right.
so we know that we
Fly
have
the
to do
drone.
something, and then eventually. So I think that's going to be very interesting. I think also, to be very honest, I think we were a little bit. You have a very specific job when you drive people here. It's people you drive usually want to come here. They do the effort to come here.
Right.
And having, it's not always easy to have a lot of traffic in this area. And so,
Yes.
it's been a lot of discussion about like at what time and when and why and how we do this, because I think that's take a little bit more thought process than what's going on up north to our
So much more traffic.
but so much more traffic. And then, we love the people, everybody, like we want people to come. We want to welcome more people. Absolutely. I just think that, here is just this area in the Willamette Hills. We have great neighbors like that support a lot of traffic. Like, Bethel Heights and Christum and Bryn Mawr and everything. And it's great. And it's Walter Scott, the do. But I think here is just a little bit more intimate, and we need to find a way to build that in this.
Yeah, and I like what you've done. I think hopefully Cole's got some shots out there, because obviously you're seating people outside, kind of, encased in the barrels in the winery and in the shade, which is key.
Yeah, we need
And then
to.
the
You
space
try
is
to use, and obviously, like we're trying to work on a kind of interesting schedule in which we start with. Whenever there is no production, that is like really like take over like the facility. We try to have places where people can taste. So we have a table close to the concrete tanks. We've made a little setup here on what we call the bottling canopy. This is where bottling is supposed to happen. But then harvest in 2 weeks, like we're trying to figure out a way to, and it's something is going to come up. We're discussing too. We always trying to take the activity somewhere else. So there's going to be something. We're going to move somewhere just for 3 months, just pop-up style. And we're very excited. So we're,
The old Antica Terra method.
Right.
It's just it's like them. Like they have to,
It's a
find
functioning
spot.
production space.
And then we want to get an experience and with people like one-to-one, and it's we're trying to be a little bit in the vineyard. It's a little bit sometimes complicated, but we're getting there. I think people are super happy with really good feedback.
Man, from working in wineries and seeing so many as a driver, this has to be one of the most functional setups I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Everything has a purpose. There's a direction. There's enough space. You
It's
talk about being
flexible
a
too.
custom crush facility.
We didn't know that was the case at first. So one of my, very proud of that is they gave me like, they say, hey, we have a vineyard. We have potential other acreage to be done. We want to get this amount of cases eventually. Let's design a winery. So I work with a great architect from Portland called Larry Farrar, who's been building a lot of wineries since he's young. Is a great. He started with Edelstein, did Lemelson, and others until he did us. And then two things that was interesting is I had to be very flexible in a sense, because I didn't really know where this company was going. It's not like we're making this. I was just basing my production assumption based on the vineyards. But I was like, wait a minute,
Right.
like Chardonnay is going to be probably working for us, so we need to consider that being something successful.
Right.
I didn't know we would have custom crush. I was trying to limit ourselves to do too many constraints in architecture design, such as gravity flow, because we could have done it probably, but it's like, is that really something we need now?
Right.
And then the other thing I did is, I'm not going to name it either, but I visited a ton of winery, because you have to understand, like we started in 2015, my first vintage here. The first one was released in 17. So I was, what keeps you a lot of busy? It's talking to people, selling wine, you know. I mean, it's just sharing, representing the brand, and it's like what takes a lot of time. And we had no wine, nobody knew us, so I had a lot of time to think through a lot about how we can be designed. So I went to see wineries in Oregon, and I say, what works, what doesn't work.
Right.
And I did something very easy. I was like, what doesn't work? We're not going to do it.
Right.
Yeah, what would you do differently if you could do it again?
There's a few things I would do differently, but I think that's more for the function of having clients rather than not. Because I didn't design this winery for clients.
Right.
I designed this winery for a flexibility of our production. Knowing that things can move and can be dynamic in the story of a winery. Now, with clients, there's a few things that having clients is just changed, but it's honestly like we're getting. I mean, I think I'm really happy you say that, because
and like you said, start with the site, then the wine, then the sales.
Yeah, and then Larry, the thing that you have to understand too, which is incredible, is our in the market. I mean, we were like hitting 50 states with 2 people, Larry and our director of trade sales. And Larry has so much connection. I mean, Larry, and so 50 point of sale. We export a lot of wine outside of the U.S. We're in UK, we're in Asia, we're in Cayman Island, we're in France, we're in Germany. I mean, not yet, but Austria. We're like in Scandinavia. It's like we're very like, this model was really pushed to like something a little bit like European.
Yeah.
And so we sell a lot of wine out and in the country, and there was a lot of work that's been done by Larry and Joshua, who is Larry's in sort of protege. He worked with him at Charlie Trotter when Larry went back, and he's been taking care of all the trade sales for now like a few years. And Josh was here with us in 15. He flew to do harvest just because he wanted to learn, and he became our director of trade. And honestly, like this amount of work that's been done for them to like explore the world of distribution has been huge, and that helps us a lot to the DTC, because we're exposed and etc. People want to try wine, so I think it's there's no perfection to start a company in a wine business, and I think we really hit hard on what we knew what to do. I think, and use Larry a lot on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so
go for it.
I want to get into the French connection a little bit more.
Sure.
Obviously, you're from France. Where are you from in France?
So I'm from a city called Nancy. Everybody called me a Nancy boy. I didn't know what it meant for a long time, and then it's just, I'm from Nancy. So it's a city that is a little bit bigger than Salem in the northeast. Very super interesting historic city in that has a old kind of Polish heritage, but like from the 16th century. So beautiful architecture. So I grew up there. I went through college. Put my touched a little bit of medical school. A little too long, my parents are in the medical field.
I see.
That didn't work out that much for me. My dad is from Burgundy. I loved wine. That was my hobby since I was 15, because you actually can have a hobby at 15 and drink wine.
Yes.
So I was doing kind of like tasting class a little bit. I had my little cellar. I was buying the review, La Revue des Vins de France every month. That's something that I found like kind of cool to learn, because it was linked to food, and I don't know, it was kind of I liked it, and it's something I really. And then when medical school didn't work for me, I kind of pushed the reset button and said, well, what can I do? So 2 things happened at this time. One is I took a sabbatical and came to the US because my uncle lives in New York, and I really like kind of okay, well, this is good. I like the U.S. mindset, even though it's New York, but it was like kind of, I did I crossed the pond, did a little pit stop, and then went to like
Well, it's New York.
But New York is very obviously it's super international. But I really liked the people I met, the diversity in the city, like the entrepreneurship of the American, like just like I like the American culture. And then I decided to study wine at this point. My uncle was a big fan of wine. He introduced me to this more and more, and I was super curious. And and then I decided to went full blast at the University of Dijon and then study like master's degree, bachelor in viticulture, master's degree in viticulture, and a master's degree in winemaking. And then and what I was doing is every summer or what I could was to work in different wineries in Burgundy, just to like understand things. It's good to learn the theory, but if you don't know the practice, so I did like a season at Dujac in the field, and then they sent me in their winery in the south of France, and then I worked at DRC, and then I studied with Nicolas Potel, who is a friend of my family. It was fascinating to me. I a lot of people that can.
Now, for people who haven't been to France, I went when I was like 9 or something, and I would love to go back. But how would you kind of compare where we live here in the Willamette Valley? We've got Newburgh, Dundee, McMinnville, etc., Salem, to Burgundy, the homeland of Pinot Noir. What similarities, differences, preferences?
Yeah. Very good question. I think that, there is a massive history in Burgundy that is like linked to castle and, folk. Castle, it's not really a castle story, but it's like there is a lot of like old villages. The similarities, villages. Let's put it that way. You Dundee, Gevrey, Chambertin. I don't want to say Dundee, it's like Gevrey. Chambol, like Midi, but I'm just saying there was similarities of like having some village that have different different like vineyards and characteristic and restaurants and like vibes. Then Pinot Noir, Chardonnay being obviously in Oregon something that is moving. To me, since I'm here, it's just keep growing. It's just like Chardonnay has been just. Chardonnay, you have in Burgundy there is way more Chardonnay than there is Pinot, like way more.
Okay, good. Yes, that's something.
Chablis is fully 100% Chardonnay, and Macon is 100% Chardonnay. I'm sorry, almost 100% Chardonnay. And the Côte there is a Côte de Beaune, and the Côte de Beaune has more Chardonnay than Pinot, and then the Côte de Nuit is heavily red. But what I like is like, the community was very interesting. It's like, different. I think if you look at it on the kind of industry standpoint, the interesting thing is kind of similarly built. There is bigger domain, smaller domain. Dominique makes as much wine as maybe less than us. Dominique Lafont, Domaine des Comtes Lafont in volume. And then you have company like make large producer like Le Jadot company, Le Droit makes the négociants, they make more wine, and that's kind of the same here. There's bigger, larger facility and bringing like knowledge. I like. It's funny. It looks like it here. It looks like I feel like home when I'm here. I feel like home, like Burgundy, but I'm not because it's very obviously very different. But it's hilly. Here, it's in Burgundy. There's obviously like just like vineyards, right? I think the big difference here is like more the attraction to like what you guys are good. There's not a lot of guests. There is guests, but not crazy. In Burgundy, there is a tourism in Beaune, but it's not. It's nothing compared to like it's not a destination. It's like there's Beaune center. So that kind of stays there for people that really like doing a tourist, and people that go taste wine. They really like. It's hard to go to taste wine in places like people is closed and nobody opens the cellar in the weekend. Sunday, Saturday.
Look, if we could start
They don't
that
need
and
to.
get the traffic midweek,
It's close.
Yeah.
They don't have traffic at the
weekends off.
midweek.
I
Right.
mean, if
I'm
we
okay
can,
with
if we can
weekends
make
off.
that work out.
No, but it's fascinating, you know, the way how France is built is like, you know, even if you know really well, like Sunday, like no, everything is closed on Sunday. You know, so I don't know. I just, but I don't know if that answers your question, but I feel like there is some similarity here, and I'm super happy that there is so much Burgundy in here. I think it's great, and I don't think they're trying to pretend to make Burgundy. I just think they just love the place. I do. I think like Veronique, you know, I always wonder why do they come in Oregon when the harvest is at the same time,
Right.
But then, you know, why do they go to New Zealand? They make good Pinot, and that would be great because they just harvest. But no, I think they just love it. They just love it here, and I think they come. They like. I think those wineries have great market presence in the U.S., and I think they want to come visit. And at the beginning, there was also probably this, and now it's just like, oh, we just love Oregon, and they invested in it, and they really find that there is it's another mecca of Pinot.
Right.
It is. I mean, at the end of the day,
It's not betraying your heritage, or
I don't-
it's an additional something to enjoy.
yeah, and the Pinot Noir of Burgundy and the Pinot Noir of Oregon are very different. They all have their identity, and they're all amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They're separate
Let's
entities.
pour another wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thirsty.
Okay, let's do this. We have to do the sister Chardonnay really quick, or not really quick. This is a
Savor it.
blend of our best barrels from different vineyards.
Excellent.
You know, very 18 still.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
We haven't discussed very much on the podcast the French influence, but it's a very real thing in the valley, particularly as folks that have been here for a while or grew up here. What's the reaction on your behalf to the Willamette Valley's homage to French winemaking and French tradition? Do you feel like it's done well? Is it something folks are using as a sales tactic? Is it, or do you feel like it's genuine?
I think it's genuine for a lot of people now. I think it's just like, I think there was, at first I asked this question myself, but I think now like people are really like, they don't really use that as a marketing gimmick. They just use this as a respect for the countries. Like,
Right.
I mean, nobody can deny that Burgundy is one of the best regions to make Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. They just honestly, what I love about the American culture is when they see something that is good, they want to reproduce it and do it better. And usually along the way, they're trying to find ways to do it. And I just always find this idea of American entrepreneurship very great, because it's like, you want to make the best cheese, they're going to do everything to make the best cheese. And there is amazing cheese made in the US.
Right.
You want to make the best Pinot Noir, they're going to try to find the best way to make the best Pinot Noir. And I don't know, I think it's actually a great trade. So I think to me, it's pretty, to me, it's respectful from standpoint of like the culture of the French. I feel great here. I feel great about like what people
Doesn't feel like a Disneyland,
No.
Paris, Disneyland Paris, or Vegas.
Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
No, it's great here. I think it's like, I love the community. I think there is so much, and I think also our generation of winemakers are people that are just, I think compared to the one just before us, we were very pushed and motivated to travel all over the world to experience harvest. Like I don't know many people in my circle or people that they all have worked in either Australia, South Africa, New Zealand, South America, and then that really opened your mind to many things. So I think there is a huge respect in the new generation of the wine, community to just get a little bit out of
It's a little more
cultural.
global than
absolutely.
it used to be with media, probably. And
Yeah, and then it's like, I think it's one of the things you have to understand too is that France, I don't know how to say that properly, and I don't know, and don't take that the wrong way, but France is stuck in tradition for the good and the bad thing, because they protect the land, they protect the land, the name, the way how to make things.
Right.
And by doing this, they kind of put themselves in a frame in which they have a hard time to innovate. They can, but it's just kind of like, well, we protect the AOC, we protect the way how we make wine, we cannot do this. It's forbidden to do this. So it's like people have so much like freedom to do things, and here you like come here and you're like, wait a minute, let's do it, you know, and you can fuck it up big time, or you can do it great, you know. And I think that's the motto of Lingua Franca since the beginning. Don't fuck it up. This is basically like
don't fuck it up.
This is like somebody does like it's like are we cool? Is like don't fuck it up.
Right.
Just gilded, you know.
Probably
the daily mantra in the
that
morning.
would be just kind of
team.
something in the label inside, like
Yeah, there you go.
Don't fuck it up.
Little Easter egg.
But you know, I think that for me, I think being here, what I realize is if you have freedom, it can be a great thing. It can be a dangerous thing. But I think to me, I always took it as like the opportunity to make the best I could.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, come on, they cannot do this, but we can here.
Right.
It's great.
Right.
And I think that pushed me to just push me and us in our winemaking and vineyard management to always like, you know, if you have freedom, it's opening question. If they say you cannot do this, it's like, well, you don't even question it. Right. It's like you can't do this. Don't even try to think about it. Where if you have no question, you know, so sometimes you make mistake, but you know, you just have to learn quickly.
Small mistakes, hopefully.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you know, it's you always learn from mistake, right?
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was pretty funny, having worked in tasting rooms and hosting folks all the time, you had mentioned in an earlier interview you had done, kind of, and it was offhanded. It just moved on really quick. But this is something I found funny with my team. We don't actually share the 45th parallel with Burgundy.
No.
We share the 45th parallel with Bordeaux and the Rhone Valley.
Pauillac. Oh, yeah, that's Pauillac.
You're right. So, but that, again, that's been one of the, like,
I've heard it
Oregon
before.
wine marketing, like, it's been in publications. Like,
Oh,
you know,
look at
the
the map.
45th parallel experience.
I'm sure some people
and-
have told it here too.
and-
I know,
and
but
like,
this is hilarious.
No, like,
I mean, just you look at a map, and then people have this conception of like, you know, that shares a parallel, so it's the same thing. And I'm like, well, what? Tell me what the same thing. Do you have do you have limestone here? Not much. Do you have volcanic soil in Burgundy? Not really. Do you have like this heat wave right now that we have in Burgundy? Not really. I know. So it's like, you know, also like, you know, in Burgundy it's 10,000 vines per hectare. It's like almost stuck in time. You cannot move anything. Here you're just like, whoa. Seven Springs, the best example. It's like there is 5 different spacing, representing the 5 history of the viticulture in Oregon, which is
some
fascinating.
Are 8 feet wide, some are down to
8
like
feet, some are 6, some are 9 by 5, some are 10 by. It's 10 by 5. It's fascinating. That was for me amazing to work there, to realize that every 10 years in Oregon has been a transition of vineyard history, of viticulture. It's like, let's do this, let's do that.
That's right, yeah.
It's a reminder of how young in our tradition we are.
We young, but young, but it's not. I'm always also like, it's not a young place anymore. I think whenever you just have, I think when you start having people that you unfortunately passed away and have been pioneer here, it just becomes like, okay, you know, and it's, I don't know, and what, for me, you know, I mean, when the 60s, you know, the first plant, like David Ladd, hey, it's a little bit of, you know.
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents were 5 years old, you know. It's like, I just, I was like, so I'm saying is that, of course, we are young compared to like
the history and tradition of.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, I'm just saying, like, we getting, I think Oregon
hitting our stride? Are we hitting our stride?
What's
Maybe?
that?
Hitting our stride? Kind of just getting into it. Yeah.
Maybe this is our late adolescence.
Yeah.
It's like me in my 30s. Like, I'm just kind of getting there, you know? Just
gray hair stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I think to me, I always like, I found this place to be, there is history already.
Right.
And when you can say, like, Oregon history, this is not a young vineyard anymore, you know? I think that's the way I
like it.
I like it.
I'm going to stick with that.
I mean, that makes me really excited to hear.
Exactly. We're doing something right.
You have a research background.
Yeah, I did.
To an extent. We're making a pivot.
Yeah.
For my next question.
Pivot, please.
I'm curious, having a research background and having been at California facility where they had an excellent research facility, watching places like UC Davis, when we look at Oregon and its trajectory, do you see Oregon becoming a hub of incredible research and sort of starting to be on par with some of these other research institutions?
But there's already like great group, you know, at Oregon State University. There, like the amount of extension. I mean, the amount of research they have, both, I mean, in viticulture with Patty, people in the energy world and fermentation, it's like top international like research. And so and as winemakers and we should use it more, but it's like they're very, very like helping us all the time.
Cutting edge.
Stuff. Yeah. Oregon is small, and it's, you know, research is based on grant and funding. So, you know, hopefully, you know, we can keep like learning more. But I think there's a point to be made that, you know, or, I mean, obviously we're going to need more help, more research, more things. I think we're also lucky enough we can grab some of the research from people in California, and hopefully, because, you know, there's we talk a lot with different region. Where this is going, I mean, you know, to be selfishly, I wish it can go beyond, you know. We'll see how Mike Minville is turning. We'll see. It's going to be interesting with the change of, you know, the Linfield College. But that was, I think, a really great start. Greg Jones is an amazing guy and just been named CEO of Abacilla, this winery, and this person is, I've known him for a long time, because he was our professor of climatology, Benjamin Bois, was the chair of the Congrès des Terroirs, and Greg came to Burgundy when I was helping as a student to help a few things. So we've met there, and then we've met at different occasions. It's just a great mind, and I think people like we need to retain in Oregon to make sure that we can. And
he's got kind of a crop of young people that he's sort of inspired. That I think there's bright stuff for the future.
Yeah. And you know what? It's hard. Is like I think the fundamental is like we need to be pushed to do acting into research means a lot of time dedicated to it. And I think that what I realized is when I did my degree in Burgundy, winery had to host some students for a certain amount of time. And by that, you kind of have to dedicate resources to students to do a specific project. So usually like wineries have some opportunity to study some things they want. I mean, there is a lot of things I would like to study right now. We don't have the capacity, the resource, the means, the time to just like figure out something. And, you know, you would need one intern that just focus on one thing and just that's what they do. And I hope one day we're going to have this potential, like, you know, people from UC Davis or whatever for their degrees just come here and do like a research and have partnership with not just the big, just wineries, you know?
Can we get back to your last question after the break?
We can take a break and then come back.
Because I'm worried we're going to go over and the cameras are going to shut off.
That's what it is.
So, all right, we will be right back.
All right.
Welcome back to Hosbrutality. Thomas, what are we drinking?
2016 Estate. So this is our very, very first wine that we've made. And, you know, you ask a question about people that were a little bit giving us like a little bit of like, what are you guys doing? Yeah. Well, that was another thing. I like challenge. I love challenge. So one of them was to make very good wine from a very first crop and just being like the first grape we harvested from this vineyard. So it was very interesting. It was very like dynamic as far as maturity because it didn't behave like kind of what you learn at school. It just like, wait a minute, this thing is like, it's like just a baby. You just needed to like being, I know if people were like, well, you're not going to make a good wine from this vintage. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
like,
you, I'm going to make a
well, we're going to I mean, what do? I need to make a good wine. So, and you know, as I come to a lot of work we've done with the staff. So, you know, I think that's something we discussed together. But like I think the really great part of Lingua Franca is because we started this project from scratch. There was no wine made before. We were able to kind of like assemble a way how to design how we're gonna make those wine. And you know, there was a big, strong sense of place. We really believe that there is a place really like want to tell a story into the bottle. But also we understand that there is Dominique Lafont, Larry Stone, there's me, and then there is all the great people that have been participating to make it that needs to have a word for it. Right. And so the way we make those wine, basically we blend blind. So whenever we have on our site, we have 23 different blocks of Pinot Noir planted and Chardonnay. It's all separated. We all age it separately. It's all lots. And then whenever we taste, it's all blind. We don't know what there is to give a chance to every single parcel. And it's great because you avoid the confirmation bias.
Yeah.
You can, because sometimes you have preconceived ideas. Like, oh, this parcel is better because. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Let's just try to take a step back and give a chance to everybody. And I think that's been very helpful for the way we built our blend, our philosophy behind the wine. And I really hope that we can keep doing it, because it's like we have to be humble behind it, because if not, things can change.
Right.
Yeah, your humility is one of the things that struck me watching your wine archive interview. But one of the questions that I so desperately want to know, and you can be a little arrogant if you need to be, you have Larry Stone, Dominique Lafon as part of this project. When it comes to blending and designing these wines, how much of that is you sitting through those blending trials? How much of that is the team? How much of that is your interns coming to the table as well?
So I think that if you try to read the way we make the wine, is that we started just Larry and Dominique and me. Just started in 15. That was the first thing. We were in the table at Coelho working hard days and 2 days to figure out a way how we can, make this happen. And then the funny thing is, I make the call. So I'm just nobody tell me what to do in the vineyard. Right. But there is guidance, I'm very sensitive to hearing what Dominique has to say about his style and about what Larry has to say, because I want to respect. This is part of they need to believe in the difficulty I have right now. And the difficulty right now is I need to find ways for people to follow what beyond the wine,
right?
Respecting people's opinion and I need to do that. That's the work I need to do on me, because it's there is so many minds now behind these wines. Everybody needs to believe that this bottle from Larry, Dominique, myself, and all the people I work with were hard on this wine. People that know the wine better, on the process. They need to be behind those wines. If not, I think it's key. Because if you don't believe in what you make, it's tough. It's very tough at every level. Yeah. So, I think that it's kind of organic, is growing, it's fun. I think we're getting the relationship of blending is getting more. I want to say organic. I understand what Dominique likes. Sometimes surprises. I understand what Larry likes. And Kim is a great taster. She understands what we're doing. She's participating in what we're doing. I'm trying to make people being I want people to say what they we go taste in a lot of places too. So yeah, I don't know if I answer your question, but blending is it's kind of the thing that doesn't exist in Burgundy. You don't blend in Burgundy. You buy fruit from Dundee and you put Dundee on the label. You buy fruit from Willamette Hills, you put Willamette Hills on the label. It's you cannot really there is no interest for people to declassify or bring some. You cannot bring something up.
Right.
So because that's the case, you just have to be very careful as a dog is eating something there. I don't know. But
I think we're all right.
Yeah, it's fine. But anyway, no, I just think it's been fun because it's a new thing. It's a new thing for Larry. I mean, not for Larry. Larry had a lot of experience. Dominique was a new thing for him at Evening Land,
right,
and something he really enjoyed to do. And I think the philosophy it's making wine with elegance, and finesse. We love wine that have Pinot is a very fragile grape that needs to be refined. We don't like wine with big alcohol. We like Chardonnay with nice acid, with a nice balance of oak and fruit like citrus or stone fruit or even a little bit of tropical fruit in a sense sometimes. It's in a right and so I think this is what we're trying to make and make sure people are we following a philosophy. And also not too much intervention. We're not super we don't do crazy thing on our wine. It's very we sulfur and then obviously work a lot, taste a lot, but it's not we don't add a lot of things.
But don't fuck it up.
Don't
Thank
fuck
you.
it up.
No, I don't fuck it up. That's the point.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to our sports minute. Thomas, thank you, and for all that, we'll now get on to the totally unprofessional takes on sports.
Yeah, that's why people chime in every week.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly. This is what they really are here for. Now's the start. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So I didn't watch a lot of the MLB All Star Game. Just a couple few innings.
What is MLB?
Major League Baseball.
I knew.
Yeah,
Just like, you know.
okay.
You bastard.
But it's also like, you know.
What is this?
Pretty much.
Do you have baseball? in
It's okay,
France?
Thomas. Nobody around here cares except for Stefan.
I'm the only guy. But this is good. You should. Did you look at the link? Did you watch
Yeah,
this?
I did.
It was great. So they for the All Star Game, they put mics on some of the players, and they gave them, and so it's this one relief pitcher. He was the relief pitcher for the 9th inning, and
Struggling.
he was
Throwing balls in the dirt.
throwing balls, and he was just like, "God damn it, fucking shit!" Like he was just cussing hard, and we could just hear it. Like it was the live feed. Like there was no cutting it out. And at one point, actually, the catcher comes up to him and is like, "Hey, man, you're mic'd up." I mean, and you can hear it because he's mic'd up.
Right.
And the guy's like, "Oh no, I can't hear anything." And he thought like his mic wasn't working or something like that. And it's just glorious.
Swearing. That's funny.
It's great. Hopefully, Cole can cut that in because it's pure comedy.
It's a good clip.
Good guy. Liam Hendricks of the White Sox.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr.
That was
Hendricks,
entertaining.
for that. Yeah,
That was
exactly.
very entertaining.
Good.
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles had a rough day today. Rough day.
Yeah. Also, like, on a mental health note, I respect someone who's reached the pinnacle of success in their craft, and for whatever their reason is, whatever their boundaries are, says, "Enough's enough. I'm gonna sit this one out."
Pulled out of the
On
team
the
competition.
largest scale,
Yeah.
for gymnastics.
It was a good little peek because she's a monster in the sport. Like she's the Michael Jordan. She's
Currently the most
Tiger Woods.
dominant
She's the most, yeah.
U.S. athlete.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
She does moves or whatever that are so difficult that A, no one else can do them, and B, she doesn't get full marks for them because
They don't have a scoring scale for
they
them.
want to discourage other gymnasts from doing those moves
Right.
because
Right.
they're too dangerous.
Yep.
She's amazing, and to see somebody in that at that level of the sport be like, I can't.
Right.
It's not worth it, or
Right. Right.
whatever she said. I think in the interview it's an interesting thing to kind of watch unfold in
Right.
media. Watch the other girls kind of gather around her, and she stood right there on the mat and cheered the other girls on. U.S. won silver, which is
Silver,
still obviously
right.
great, and some other gymnasts are amazing on the U.S. team. But
We'll see by the time this comes out. She'll have either competed or not in the individuals.
Yep.
That's still a couple days from now.
Oh
But-
yeah, that's true. She can still go.
She can still
She can
compete
still go.
individually.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I hope the U.S. media is gonna be good with her. I just like.
right.
so far, it seems like there's been some
In the
good.
last few hours, it's been relatively positive.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You want to see what's best for her,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to see people look back with regret, but you also want to see greatness.
Right.
So I think there's kind of mixed feelings in it.
Well, and we also know, like, from athletes, they are a role model whether they want to be or not.
Yes.
And so you have this person who is the very best and is getting to actually be an example to a lot of young folks,
Yep.
kids. Hey,
Right.
if you've hit your limit,
Just take.
it's okay. Take a
Yeah.
breath. Take
Yeah.
some time.
Yeah.
Go get the
Yeah.
help you need.
Yeah.
So celebrate that.
All right. What's brutal and what's beautiful? Brutal.
That Delta variant.
That Delta variant. Delta Force
It's,
spreading.
I mean, it's been so nice. I got the shot in the arm. We've been able to do the podcast
Yeah.
mask free for a while.
Yep.
If things trend the way they are, that will probably be changing.
Well, I'll drink to that. I don't know. I just in a sad way.
Yeah, just today we had as many COVID tests done as some of like the most busy days we had last summer. and I guess like something like half the people that were testing positive had already been vaccinated. So
They already
it's
been
kind of crazy.
vaccinated.
Had already been vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, not too sick. Hopefully. But.
Yeah, probably not the cases that would get hospitalized, but still.
But yeah, we were
It's
discussing
unfortunate.
earlier, like, hopefully there will not be another real shutdown and that people will just get vaccinated. And even if you get the virus, hopefully you won't be sick. You'll
Right.
be, maybe you're in that 50% or whatever, but and live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Huh? It's a tough one. Mike, I cannot see my parents right now because
Right.
of border are closed. And
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nobody can come to the U.S. I don't know. I mean, it's huge. I mean, I was very thankful whenever we got the vaccination here. I thought it was a really beautiful thing.
Right. Yeah.
That you go to Salem to go to the place where there is a military and it's very streamlined and it's free. It's like, I mean, it's
Someone's paying for it, but yes.
someone's paying for it, absolutely. But I'm saying it's like it's accessible
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
for everybody that wants to get it. And then it's been, I don't know, for me, I was very kind of get my little little drop in. Yeah, it was just very emotional because just like having family at home and understanding how it works there. And France is a very a super developed country, super health insurance and stuff, and it's health system that is in place. And then nobody wants to get vaccinated. I mean, it's weird, it's strange. And it's like so yeah, I hope that's
We'll cross our fingers and toes.
yep.
Right.
Hopefully. Before we get on to what's beautiful, which wine is
18 estate.
18 Estate.
I think it's important to do the 16 and 18. 18 is very, to me, what we're experiencing this year in 2021. I'm just trying to drink a lot of 18 right now to like remember.
What
Like
if
what
I could
we
do
did
this vintage again?
It was not an
what would I
interest.
do?
It was a very interesting vintage, very tough, in a good way. I learned a lot. It was just like different grape structure, different way to extract, and just really, really like a new way for me to make wine because it was richer, darker, more tannic. But I really had to kind of bring things down to us to get to this wine.
This
And
is really elegant. It's really
and
soft, lower
I think
tannins, lower alcohol.
Yeah, and I think 18 could have been this massive wine if we would
Sure.
have just not.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad.
No, this has some nice, like, savory notes on the nose that I'm really digging. Spice. And no, that's lovely. All right. Beautiful.
If you can do this again with
Beautiful.
this year, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, there you go.
You should come taste during harvest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
well,
welcome to.
you know where to find us. Willamette Valley Barrel Auction is happening next Thursday, I believe. So
Yeah.
they normally a spring, early spring
Yep.
event, April.
Yep.
They, I think, wisely moved it back.
Yep.
And are doing an in-person version.
Yep. It's next week.
Yeah.
A lot of event going on. A lot of people come
Yeah.
to travel and safely, and it's gonna be super great. I think it's one of the it's a one major event that has been kind of like back this year, which is
Mhm,
smart.
exactly.
And it's needed too because it's for a lot of people in the trade. So I
Right.
think there was a support. My heart also goes to APNC, which was last week, and virtual. I'm on the board, and I really like this event because it's close to home, close to Burgundy. That's
Right.
where I help a lot. And next year, in person, we just announced this speaker, which is great, Philippe André.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
That was crazy.
Very.
I got that email. I'm like,
That's great.
all
We're
right,
super
let's
happy.
go. You're
Yeah.
already
His
amped
guy
up for
is-
next year.
This guy is amazing.
We might have to move your party to Sunday so
Yeah.
we can, or Monday so we can go to IPNC
Yeah.
next year.
That goes against everything I believe in.
I know. Well,
You don't have to come to the party, Wesley.
I just got
Fireworks.
just got uninvited.
Eric cooking tacos and ceviche.
We
and
could have both.
poke tostadas. Yeah, if you can come at 10 if you want.
All right. Sounds good.
All the food will be gone. I have a party every night of the salmon bake.
So, oh yeah.
That's
It's our un-IPNC.
started as
It's
an
for-
un-IPNC party
Uh huh.
for people who weren't cool enough and rich enough to go to the salmon bake, and it turned into a block party at my house, and it has been one of my greatest creations.
It's
other than my children.
It's a hell of a night. Yeah.
Well, maybe we should go and check it out.
Yeah.
Bring it up after.
Fuck the salmon bake.
I know,
No,
I can't-
no,
I
no,
can't-
no,
I
you can't
can't.
say that. You can't.
No, we can't say that.
No, we have to actually we
Good
have
for
to
them.
do the opposite. Yeah, it's IPNC is a great event, and I think that it's it's an old event, and I'm really super happy to participate and help. That's great.
Yes, but we would love to have you at the party.
Hey, I'll find a way. To
get off when you get off that board.
Yeah.
Come on over. Have some tacos and drink on the
Next year we can just party a lot later. We'll go till 1, 2 in the morning.
That will probably not be.
Come on.
Yeah, that's when you have your own pad with like a patio and pool.
Done.
Well, 2 parties.
Two parties.
We're just getting better at this. Year after year, we'll get better. More parties. All right.
Talk us through this last one. You put this on the list.
Me?
And this was this
Oh no,
for
I
you,
think
Ed?
Cole put this on
Did
the
Cole
list.
put it on? Cole?
This is a good call.
So this is something I just read. I don't know a whole lot about, but the Willamette Valley Winery Association announced protected geographical indication status and protection by the European Union, which is apparently a big deal for wine regions. So the definition of that is an analysis was carried out to establish the causal link between the specific qualities of the Willamette Valley wines and the characteristics of the geographical area in the valley where the product originates. So basically the uniqueness of the Willamette Valley wines, like they're just the features of the flavors and the terroir of this area, the sedimentary soils and stuff are unique, so unique that us and I believe just California are the only two wine regions in America that are recognized by that.
Yeah.
Which is a big step for like
Just like a new worldwide recognition for the valley.
yeah, correct.
And I think it's
probably more
it's-
marketing value than anything.
Well,
but-
just like, I think, I think that whenever you marketing or just having there's a tremendous amount of work done by, people like, Adelsheim, Ken Wright, Patterson Edry, to
Harry,
work a
yeah,
lot, Harry, that did a lot of this. And, I think that just, I think it's great because we need every single publicity to make sure this place is recognized. This is I always know Josh has always this number. We are like, I don't even want to get into the statistic because I don't want to hear. I feel like we're so big into this wine world, but Josh is like, we were like 0.1% of the entire U.S. planted vineyard or something. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But it's so big to have the, so it's a great achievement. And we have a lot of amazing minds, folks, passionate. That's what I love too. Like coming back to the French thing, it's like people are very proud of this region. Yeah.
But if it Burgundy is the father, of Pinot Noir, the birthplace or whatever for Burgundy and France to give us a little I see you. Absolutely big.
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge. I'm very proud of that. That's great.
Yeah, that's a good thing. We're doing all right.
This was so fun.
We're doing all right. I had a great time.
Thank you,
I could
guys.
go like 2 more hours.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Maybe
oh no, he needs to get home.
You gotta
Well, you drive me home, right?
Maybe we'll do it
baby.
again. Yeah, with that Tesla.
I'll just put you in the Tesla.
hey, just imagine the
Send
dream.
you home.
Tesla, take Thomas home.
Can you imagine
Yes,
he's just
sir.
come here?
We're getting there.
2 or 3 years
getting
from
there.
now, maybe.
Yeah, that's
We'll
great.
be out of a job, but that's all right. We'll get to drink and drive. No driving. drink and ride.
Drink
Drink
and
and
riding.
ride. Yeah.
Hire me
whatever.
for
I don't
everything I
know.
know. The car will just take us there.
That's
back.
exactly it. Good. Well,
That's amazing.
thank you for inviting us
Yep.
here.
Thanks for having us.
Everybody come to visit Lingua Franca, buy Lingua Franca wines because it sounds like they're everywhere.
I hope so. We're trying to. We have to do more, but
Are you more in restaurants or bottle shops?
well, that's shifted with COVID, obviously. So
Okay, sure.
restaurant been completely dependent on the States, but we've been a lot of our great partner distributors are really move, to work in high-end retailers to restaurant, but we really value. Restaurant. We have to work in restaurant. As much. Larry is. It's Larry's essence, and it's like where he's from, and he's like he loves hospitality, and because this is all his life. He works.
Yeah.
I didn't know before I knew, obviously, but people's like, he worked in the best restaurant in the U.S. for some years, and it was a very key of the success. So, And at the end of the day, one of the reasons why he bought this property is because of the wine he was able to buy. He sold part of his collection to buy this property.
Right.
And so, you know, I think that there is so much history in this place that is like linked to like what sacrifices that he made in his career. And then, you know, we want to be in the best place. Why not? You know, just my best pride is going to when I go to Paris and we are in some 2 stars, 3 stars Michelin restaurant. This is for me. This is like, you know, I feel like I've like, wow. I'm like,
how many years till our cans are in 2-star Michelin? Stop.
I'd be happy if they were at Freddy's. But I think we need to bring Thomas when we do take Hosbrutality on the road to France, and you can help us out.
I say
Get us reservations.
Let's travel.
Let's do that.
Let's go. Exactly.
Brother, thank you for being here. We appreciate your time.
Thank
Thanks a lot.
you very much.
All right. We will see you next week.